Thank you very much for staying tuned. Welcome to the second and conclusive segment of Development Focus with Jide Ojo on ITV. This date, this January 5, 2022. I have another fish, a very big fish in my pond. In fact, this one is a whale. It's not just it's not Titus, it's not mackerel. It's a whale I've pulled into the studio to join us to forecast into 2022. I have with me a lawyer, a teacher, a legal luminary, a newspaper columnist, former member of editorial board of Daily Independent, Sam Kagu, Esquire. It's a pleasure to have you with join us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
These are our guys at the top, you know. And thanks for honoring our invitation. So, Sam,
Yes.
2022 is here.
Yes.
Today is the 5th day. Happy New Year is still in order.
Yes.
What do you see, politically speaking, before we go into governance? What are those high points we should look out for in 2022? I want you to, we used to have one, what is the name? An astrologist in the Vanguard of Old that will tell you, I don't know what his name is, can you remind me? He used to make projections every January about what will happen. He's an astrologer of note then.
Thankfully, I'm not.
So I want you to play the role of an astrologer.
I think what I can say conclusively, or what I would say with some sort of absolutism, is the fact that we have a busy year. A very busy year, and unfortunately, the downside of it is that the economy would not actually be having the high points that we hope it would, because governance would definitely play the backseat.
Unfortunately so,
yes. We have party conventions, they are coming, and from there we'll have an inkling as to who are going to be the gladiators for the elections in February 2023. So basically, what I would say is this. Yes, we're going to go back to what we didn't finish in 2022, which is the amendments.
The electoral amendment.
Electoral amendment, and perhaps some tinkering with the Constitution. Unfortunately, what we've been having, and this is why I have my doubt as to what we want to have from the papers that we make, because if we are thinking that the papers will do the work for us, we'd always be doing what we are having. We'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, or what they call the 4th Amendment. All of these amendments are geared towards bettering the electoral process. But have we, in any sense, had any of those, what I would call, beneficial results from those exercises? I do not think so. And that is why I've always said that until we all know that the government and the activities that we have in government are a product of who we are, and that for every generation you produce your own political culture, and that no paperwork, no constitution can actually refine you or humanize you. The Americans started with, I've had to say this over and over, with a 4-page document with just about how many clauses? About 7 clauses. And they've had, for over 100, how many years now? They've had only about 27 amendments, and each of those amendments have nothing to do with the electoral process, but about strengthening the fit and the status of the individual within the state, because the realization that the state is such a dangerous instrument that if the individual is not actually well guarded and protected, there is that temptation for the individual to be consumed by the states. But here, unfortunately, all efforts, money, time, energy of the lawmaker has always been towards teaming the politician. And that in itself has not by any way produced the quality of leadership that we deserve.
Okay, so you've mentioned two things, electoral reform
Yes.
and constitutional reform. Yes. But you said they are not adequate enough to give us better governance, if I get you right.
Yes.
Okay, we are just itemizing. We'll still dig deep into this. Let's look at, there was a news report where INEC said about 100 political party or 100 political associations have applied to be registered as political parties. And I recall that in 2019,
yes,
we actually had 91 political parties,
yes,
that contested in that election.
Yeah.
How good is that for Nigeria's democracy?
It is not good because many of them are just diversionary and just flooding the pond. It's not the number that matters, but the quality you bring into the
So we have 18 registered now,
yes,
and about 100 wants to join that 18. An election is just about 1 year time.
Even within that 18, if you look at the constitutional provisions regarding what you need to be registered, there's hardly any one of them that INEC cannot, if he wants to do his job, cannot be prescribed. Even with APC and PDP. APC and PDP are running their affairs without national affairs and national offices. And that's a basic requirement that you must have. INEC is also given the power to actually deregister you if you breach any of those provisions.
But PDP has done their own convention. Dr. Iyorchia is now the national chairman. They've elected all their national working committee members.
Yeah,
but it's APC that
yeah.
they said tentatively February.
Yeah. But you can't in any way. You understand? You are not the master. You cannot. It's like you telling the sun to wait for you to do your job before it continues. The law says this is what you should do.
So it's part of the impunity in the system.
That's what I'm saying. It's
that APC is just claiming because we are the ruling party. We can do what.
Committee. Really, is that contemplated in the constitution? But coming back to what we are saying,
and the caretaker committee has been in place for over 1 year.
Forever.
So that's a
breach of the constitution.
Okay.
This is not about what their law says. It's about what the constitution says. Mind you, there are other associations there that, to me, if I look at them, they are even much more impactful in the people. There are religious bodies that have a better spread and better following and numbers and more disciplined, more organized. But the law says no, they cannot fund, they cannot canvass for votes. They give you that privilege. But so that privilege is subject to you also respecting that particular instrument that gives you that power.
Sam, let's look at the ruling APC.
Yes.
You think they deserve to be deregistered because they don't have a national working committee?
Absolutely.
But in 2021,
yes,
3 governors moved into APC from PDP.
Yes.
Ben Ayade of Cross River, Matawali of Zamfara, and Dave Umahi of Ebonyi, and several senators. What is the attraction in APC that, in spite of the purported internal crisis of the party, there is still migration, defections, mass defections into the ruling party?
I think the attraction is capturing power. You know, when you are in office, what they call the incubacy, there is always that belief that you are almost 3/4 into winning. That's the attraction. And I think the message they sell to them that, oh, there's an opportunity for you to be president here, whoever you are, this time around, the place is open. But you know it's not open. But that's the catch. None of them is coming in there because he loves APC. But that, what would I call it now?
Ticket. To
that
get the
has
ticket.
Been promised.
So.
But unfortunately, too, you see, the constitution itself places double standards here. It has provisions preventing members of the National Assembly from defecting, if that's the word.
But Section 81.
Yes, it says nothing about the
executive.
You understand,
Yeah.
and the executive. And I don't know why that is so, because to me, each one of those one is carrying a mandate, and the mandate belongs to the people. If you move with the people's mandate to another party, that's, to me, treachery.
Anyway, I think PDP started it, poached Obaseki in June of 2020.
Yes.
And now, if you tackle me, I will double you.
Yeah,
so APC now say, hey, you took Obaseki from us. We will take three.
And unfortunately, these gentlemen, if that's the word, but I know my word that I would have used, but we are on here, they don't have integrity. They don't. To them, they know what it means by sitting on top of state resources. Capture power by all means. Everything you see about election or whatever poster that you see them trading or laundering out there, it's just about capturing state power and capturing state resources. Not about development, not born out of any principle or out of any philosophy for development. Not any. And the most disappointing generation of them or class of them are the governor. These are young people. Very many of them that I have the opportunity to discuss with, I say, listen, I'm older than you, I'm more educated than you. You only have the opportunity to sit there, so don't tell me anything. And they negate that argument that if power is given to the younger generations, they'll be better because they are nearer to what? Modern science and technology and the realities of the world. But who among them has actually met that case? Not one single. So when you now talk about age, you are talking about all of this. These ones that we put there who are actually playing emperors within their own domains, they have not shown that. And what do we have? We have disgovernance instead of governance. And that is why we are having this crisis we're having. How many of, do you know the number of states in Nigeria that are richer than Rwanda? That are even richer than Ghana or Senegal? But look at the state of development in these countries. And the reason is what? They have focused, dedicated, and effective leadership. Here we don't.
Okay, so it's been said that for 16 years we have a de facto one-party state, which was PDP and others.
Yes.
So until the tide change in 2015,
yes,
and the APC came on board, how beneficial has our de facto two-party system has it been to Nigeria? We know we are running a multi-party system, so now people talk about a de facto, not de jure, de facto two-party state. How beneficial has that been to us?
I'm not too sure about that. I don't even believe in the party system because it has not been an agent of development. Development in terms of physical development or economic development, and development in terms of what? National cohesion. Because that's what they should be doing. They should generate democratic principles, unifying principles, and be the nation state builder. But they're not. The interest, the energy, the focus has been, and I'm repeating the cliche, capture state power and capture state resources. And that is why there is hardly anybody who is rich out there that, if he traces history, is not rooted in his political life. How many of them? Or his political association? How many of them are out there? Not too many. For every regime, I don't want to use the word administration. You understand? It creates its own number or class of rich people, year in, year out. When they go, they live forever in riches. Because what? That is the essence. That is where they are into politics. Politics is an investment.
Okay. Sam,
yes.
do you believe in Igbo presidency in 2023? The Igbos are saying we've been marginalized for so long, it's now our turn. You did it for the Yorubas in 1999.
I want you to define belief here. If you ask me, should the Igbos vie for the presidency, I would say absolutely.
No, they have been vying.
Yeah.
They have been vying.
Yes.
Kingsley Moghalu, Obieze Kwesili, and the rest of them were vying in previous election. But I mean,
Are you trying to say that they should be given the presidency?
Yes.
Without the others
Contesting. What I'm saying is that, do you believe the affirmative action that brought a Yoruba presidency in 1999, in which the political elite of Nigeria agreed to feature only Yoruba candidates, Olufalaye, APC, APP, AD, and Obasanjo, PDP. You know, in 1999, whichever of the two presidents, head or tail, a Yoruba man won. Is it something you want to prescribe, that for unity, national cohesion, national loyalty, to douse this whole issue of IPOB agitation, that similar affirmative action can be worked out by the Nigeria political elite to say in 2023, let's give the power to the Igbos?
It can. 2023 may be too near, but it can. And I think that was the whole essence of the rotational presidency.
Yeah.
If you follow the confab that actually proposed that, and which in principle has been the political arrangements for the stakeholders, is to ensure that no one nation or no one region is left out of this presidency. And the reason why the presidency is so important is about what I'm saying. It's the source of wealth for not just individuals, but perhaps for a class of individuals. I have not seen where or time when the presidency has favored any region as such.
Even when they are from, I mean, Buhari, some state is almost ungovernable.
Yeah, Buhari, with all respect, with all due respect, he's my man. You know me, he's my man, and I cannot dissociate myself from him for now. But the question I want to ask is, what has he done for the North? That I would say this is the reason why they should be thankful that he is president. Yeah, you give employment to a few cronies or individual, but personal employment in itself is even a disservice to a region, because it only cuts, what would I call it now? Hatred from the others. Because for whatever this, it's those deserving employments that cut hatred for a whole region. Meanwhile, the region is there suffering. The Northwest, like you said, is ungovernable. Before he came into office, it was peaceful. I could drive from here to Birnin-Kebbi. I can almost say Birnin-Kebbi is my state. I feel it when I go there, and I don't see a reason for the Northwesterners to say, yes, we have a president. But for ego.
Yeah, bragging rights, they say.
Not just bragging rights. You know, there is a contest between the nations and the state. The state would only cater for and pander to the class, the elites. But the aspirations out there for national building lies in the happiness of the nations. I'm not talking about people here. I'm talking about the nations that make up
the country.
If an Igbo man becomes president, the whole of the Igbo nation will say, okay, we are part of Nigeria. So in that sense, I believe in it absolutely. But politics in itself doesn't come so easy like that. It's not a matter of course. It's also a product of politics
and negotiation.
That's what it is.
So we haven't got much time. We are coasting home. Let's look at the call for restructuring. Right now, the amendment of the Constitution is almost halfway done. At least the memoranda has been submitted, public hearing has been held, and since that time we've not had anything. It's just for them to vote on those areas that they have highlighted, and then consequential amendment by the at least minimum of 24 states.
Yeah.
What do you foresee in 2022 happening to constitutional amendment? Do you see any kind of restructuring taking place this year?
I do not think so. I do not think so. There are proposals for the strengthening of the local government system. If those provisions go through, you could say that is some modicum of devolution of power. But the restructuring in the sense that people want, I do not see it happening. Of course, I give credence to the workings and the energy that we put in by the Omogege-led committee. It's done a good job, they've done a good job, but I do not see restructuring happening overnight. It won't.
Okay, let's pass some thoughts for governance.
Yes.
How do we mitigate the influence of politics on governance in 2022? The state governors, the presidents, the local government chairperson, they will still be there till May 2023.
Yes.
Or June, because we now have a June 12th, May 29.
Yeah.
Okay, now, and the fear being expressed in many quarters is that this year, and you yourself have expressed it, that this year we won't see much governance.
We won't see.
How do we mitigate the influence of politics on governance in 2022? Because governance too must run.
It's difficult. It's difficult. And
Why difficult? Why is it difficult?
Let me say.
Mark, most of the governors are not up for re-election.
But they
are serving out their term.
All of them will come to the National Assembly. We want to come to the National Assembly.
Okay.
How many of them that failed the last time? Except perhaps you say Dakingari in Kebbi State.
And
Dan Kwambo
in Gombe.
In Gombe. Who else? All of them came.
Even Abiola Ajimobi failed.
Yeah. So about those few, but the majority of them are in National Assembly, and many of their lobbyings and why they are even holding on to direct primaries is because of that. But we also have from among them those of them who are vying for the presidency, even from the cabinet, the presidency. You know the names of those ones who want to come, who are contesting. You know the governors who definitely want to contest. So they'll be divided. And the energy they should have put in official time is going to be put into private purpose, which to me is a disservice to the state. Ordinarily, if you want to contest and you know your politicking or campaigns would impact negatively or hold down development in the state, you resign. But they won't.
So will you call for those who say, like in Bangladesh, I learned about 3 months or 6 months to the election, they will resign and there will be an acting person in chair.
That's what it should be. And I would also expect Mr. President to do that, because he has the power to do that, to say that if any of you are interested in any office and you know it will hold down on your deliverables, resign.
And let your deputy take over.
He should even have the intelligence report on those of them who are campaigning.
But that means the constitution have to be amended.
Definitely.
Unfortunately.
Definitely.
Anyway, that will be the size of our intervention this morning on the political and governance forecast for 2022. You've heard it all from Sam Kagbo, Esquire, a renowned legal luminary, newspaper columnist, and law teacher. I want to thank you and wish you well for 2022.
Yes.
We will survive. Yes. Collectively, yes. We will survive. Thank you very much. Please do stay tuned. Fresh edition will come your way next Wednesday. Stay safe and stay blessed.